Hi guys, it's Kiana again. Click the thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell. Bye!
You are now listening to the ReEducation podcast. How do you then, as parents, support how Leo then identifies as?
It's really weird because we've spoken about this. I'm so scared actually about Leo being in this world and growing up in this world. I'm so scared. I'm scared that he's going to get racism for being a quarter black. I'm scared that he's going to get racism for being half Indian and being called like Paki or whatever it is that I was called. I'm just so scared. And even more when I speak to Mark, I'm scared of him just being so confused and not knowing who he is or identifying with anyone. I'm scared of him being angry at us for I don't know what, but just angry that he's a mixture and he will always be that other box, because there is no box for a half Indian, a quarter black, quarter white. So what the hell? The only thing that, and the thing is, I can't relate to any of that because I am Indian and there's that box, right? British Asian or whatever it is. Like I can't relate to how he's going to feel. I take comfort in the fact that Mark has had those experiences growing up and can have those conversations, but I'm scared. Like, are you?
Yeah, I mean, it does weigh on my mind somewhat. I have thought about it even before he was even born. Thinking about how he would perceive himself, how he would, would he feel the same things that I did? But I think it is slightly different because whereas with me, for example, I was raised by a white mother. And, for Leo, he has me as a sort of mirror where he's mixed, I'm also mixed. I didn't have that where I could look at my mum or dad and say you're we're this kind of same. So I can at least give him some kind of guidance and whatever I can, and also he can see himself reflected kind of in both of us. We're all, if you look at it on the base level, we're all brown. We're all brown people. I don't think he'll feel as I don't know. I would hope that he wouldn't feel as kind of different, especially in terms of within his own household, because like I said, he's got me, he's got you. I would want him to embrace being a mixture of different ethnicities and look at that as that's something to draw strength from, to be able to dive into these different cultures, know that you're part of that. You've got this this history flowing through your veins. It's not a weakness. It's not something that to feel less than anybody else. You're no better than anyone else. You're not less than anyone else. And I would just want him just to grow up strong, confident. And I think especially having Indy as a mum who is so confident and has these great qualities, that will be instilled in him from really early on. And there's so many notable people, successful people who are mixed, and I will expose him to that. I will give him, this is not to put down my upbringing. I drew on what I had to draw from, but in terms of being mixed, my parents aren't mixed, so they, whatever. But I will expose him to that. Say, look, here's look, Barack Obama, you know, yeah, Tiger Woods, here's The Rock, whatever, you know, and say, look, don't feel less than anybody else. Don't feel like, don't feel like you're half of this, quarter of that. You are you, and you embody all of that. So it's like it's almost like he's the physical representation of the truth that we are all one.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful
No,
thing.
that
Love
when you put
himself.
it like that, it is, you know, he is a combination of everybody that represents your family, and you know, showing that we are all one. And he is the physical representation of that.
Yeah.
And he is beautiful. He's absolutely gorgeous, and he already has so much character. It's just crazy. So when Mark's saying that, you know, that he's confident and beautiful and loving mother, you know, it will be instilled in him. It already is. It already is. And over the years to come, it will continue to manifest itself into the character and the amazing young man that he is growing into. And you know, I remember a conversation that me, because we've had many, that me and Indy were having, and I was like, you know, it's about creating your own identity, you know, and your own culture, because you are the family unit. So when he thinks of family, first the people that he's going to think of is mum and dad, because it's the three of us in the house. Then he starts to look at aunts, uncles, grandma, granddad, cousins, god sisters, god brothers, you know, distant relatives, and then friends and their children. Like, first and foremost, that the first thought of family and his heritage is going to be mum and dad. So what you're doing now, you're already creating your own aspect of culture and identity for Leo. And as mums, we're natural worriers. Like, we worry about everything from the moment we become pregnant, and we know that's it. Like, we become paranoid, fair, paranoid. Like, it's what kind of, it's the fuel that fires us to be who we are as mothers. And that's not to downplay fathers. I can only speak as in the role that I know, and that is of a mother. I don't for a second doubt that fathers also have that fuel. We come from that protective, whereas I'm guessing that men will come from that, the strength, and you know, the character and the just the nature that is them as a person. Whereas we're very soft and mother and sweetie and softly and protection. That's the kind of things that we think about, and it really does fuel us in our day-to-day mothering jobs. And then that carries through to work and friendships and, you know, social gatherings and networking and all of that stuff. But I just want you to kind of acknowledge what you're actually doing already is a lot. By having this conversation, that's just a step in millions of steps that you've already taken.
Yeah.
I really want to kind of look at your experiences that you've both shared of growing up and, you know, being of the heritage that you both are. How do you feel that shaped how you are now as a parent?
As a parent, it's a really good question. Do you know, it's so funny. Like, one thing that I really regret is not learning how to cook. Right? Because, like, genuinely, I know that sounds mad, but as like when you live in an Indian household, there's like amazing food all the time, right? People cook and you are fed, and I can't cook. And it's really, I mean, I can do the basic thing, right? I can bake a potato, I could do a spud, it's fine. But like,
is that traditional Indian?
About to say that too.
Baked potato.
Like, I really regret that, because like I feel like I want to be that Indian mum who prepares like some amazing meals. I mean, I do nice meals for him, but not like how I got, right? And so that's a really random answer to your question, but it does kind of make me think, how did I grow up with my parents in an Indian household? How did I grow up? And how it's affected me. You know, there are certain things like food that is a massive part of an Indian heritage and family life, which I don't think I'm bringing, and I really want to do that, and I will do that. But things like, you know, being, I guess, really hot on education, for example, like I can't help it. I've kind of been conditioned to be like, oh my God, he must be good at maths. Like you have to be good. It's ridiculous, right? But that's like, it genuinely is a condition. It's a conditioning. Like from tiny, I was given like a doctor's set, like here's a stethoscope, you can be a doctor, and it's just like, what the hell? Like you're taught you're going to be a doctor, or you're going to be a lawyer, or you're going to be a whatever scientist, and you've got like whatever. I feel like I've got that in me still, because that's how I grow up. It's really, so it's little things like that aren't actually really like over the top, but I definitely want him to be academic, which is crazy because he might not be. He might be, I don't know, might be creative or athletic, and I would want to support that, and I'd like to think I would. But like the Indian, you know, growing up in an Indian household, I'm like, no, you have to be. Do you know what I mean? It's really weird. Yeah.
It's in an African household too. There's no
Exactly.
education. So you're going to university? Are you going back? Are you going to this? Are you going to that? What
Exactly.
That's it.
It's true.
That's interesting. I mean, see, for me, it's odd because I wasn't raised in a black household. So it's funny because sometimes I'll come out with phrases or say this and that, and Indy will say to me, you know, you sound like your mum. You know, I sound like I'm
like an old white woman, basically.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell you sound?
But then, it's like that's
so funny. But then, like, genuinely, in the like in the next like 10 minutes, you'll say something like, I don't know, I can't even think of anything now, but something like in patois or something, or you'd be like, oh, I'm not even gonna say it, right? Because I will not get it right. And then I'll be like, it's so weird. Like, it's really,
between 1 and 2.
The dualistic nature of it, but it's I think that it's quite individual. Is for me, it's not really some. I don't think my parenting is kind of influenced by anything to do with race. If I look at how my dad, for example, who was raised, you know, he's born and raised in Jamaica, so he has certain, you know, kind of worldview and you know, kind of way that he was brought up, you know. My mum different, and I guess I just try and take the best from each, and you know, I don't know how else. I try and take the best from each, but I know that I don't have the same kind of I don't have the same, I guess, views necessarily as my dad and how he was brought up, because I think the way he was brought up was kind of really kind of strict, very disciplinarian sort of upbringing, and
in Jamaica,
and you know, it's a whole different culture, whereas, you know, I was brought up in England with you know, primarily my white mum, so I'm guess veer more to that side of, I don't know if I don't want to you know, what's the word, kind of make a blanket statement, but in terms of, all I know is, well, for my mum, she's a lot more kind of liberal and easygoing with stuff. She wasn't strict, and I don't know if that's this. I wouldn't. I don't think that's down to ethnicity or whatever. It's just her nature. So I guess what I'm saying is, I do have obviously both sides to me in my personal characteristics, but yeah.
But it's interesting though, because like you were raised by your mum who's more easygoing, which is I think why you're actually more easygoing with Leo.
I am, yes.
And I'm more strict with Leo, and I think that's why. So that's what I think. That's actually a really good question, because if you think about it, it does really matter how you grow up, and I think that is. I do actually think it's a little bit to do with culture and ethnicity. I do, to be honest.
Yeah. For example, had I been brought up mainly by my dad, if he had, for example, taken me to Jamaica and raised me there, I think I'd be a completely different person. And I think the way I parent would probably be different as well. If I was raised the same way he was, who knows? But I would venture to say that I would probably be a bit more in line with that style. Whereas I need to be more assertive and more kind of more I don't want to say strict, but I need to have a bit more of that about me with my parenting. Yeah.
Do you think that that's something that, knowing that you're like a bit of the opposite in terms of the strict nature and a bit laid back and slightly softer, do you think that that's something that you can learn maybe from each other?
Together? Yeah, because you have more patience actually, like your mum too, and I just don't have that. And so actually you're right, we can get that from each other.
Yeah.
But in terms of like talking to Leo, if I think about parenting, in terms of talking to him about, we've already discussed this, haven't we? But just making sure he really understands all the different cultures that he's made up of and is proud of that is so key. Because actually I was never explicitly sat down and said, do you know what? This is what India is, and this is what it is. I just was part of it. But I feel like I'm going to have to do that with Leo, and you'll have to do that as well.
I think, yeah, to a degree, but I would like it to be kind of as organic as possible as well. So yeah, exposing them to, traditional things from food, music, yeah, film, just cultural things, just organically introducing these things as we do. He'll listen to Bollywood songs, so on and so forth. But yeah, there will be some, a need to actually explain a few things as well. But yeah.
Indy, you mentioned you haven't been to Kenya, but have you been to India?
I have, yeah. I went when I was tiny, so I don't remember it. But then I went again when I was 16, and it's really funny because I absolutely just wanted to come home. I was like, this is because it's such a culture shock, right? You're 16, right? And you went to Jamaica when you were 16, didn't you? Well, no,
yeah, I was 15.
15, right? And it is such a, and I just wanted to be at home with my mates, just having a laugh. And I was in India where I was just like, what the fuck is this? It was so insane. Like, it's just like, it hits you. And I mean, it was a lot, looking back, it was amazing, but I just feel like I would only really appreciate it now, and I really want to go back now, because there is really nothing like it. It's an amazing place. But I really want to go to Kenya when my dad was. He's so desperate to take me and show me his school and all that. I need to do that. Yeah. But I've not been to Jamaica yet.
You haven't?
No.
What are you waiting for?
I don't know how that hasn't happened yet. I obviously I've got a ton of family over there. My dad has a house over there. I don't know how that hasn't happened yet.
Mad.
But I definitely would want Leo to visit India, Jamaica, go to everywhere. Go to everywhere. And I think that will help for him to connect to these different sides, these different things that he's from. In an organic way. feel connected, to know that that it's all part of him. And yeah, like as you said, like when I went to Jamaica when I was 15, yeah, it's kind of similar. Like I didn't fully appreciate it because you want to, summer holidays, you want to be with your mates, but I think that's why it might be important for Leo for us to take him a few times, to because I think it's important to feel that connection, not just okay, this is where you're born, but you have the connection globally.
Yeah,
I think it's real important.
Yeah, there's just so much power in taking a child to the lands in which they originate from and their roots lie.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just I can't even describe. I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it now, because if we think about, we're all of different backgrounds that are not rooted in the UK entirely.
Yeah.
But where we have to there's stereotypes and people's perceptions in the society that we live in of where we actually are, where we come from, are what we have to go by. And it's not the be all and end all that we have to go by. Just speaking to our parents or grandparents, or I can't do that, my grandparents have passed now, but I tried my best, especially with my mum's parents, because my grand died when I was a little bit younger on my dad's side. But with my mum's mum and dad, I asked as much questions as I could to get a sense of where we're from, well, where they were from, like their upbringing, what led them to coming over to the UK, like what was it like when they first came over here. And that was as a child, I was asking these questions. I couldn't so much ask them to my grandma because she was just intensely strict. She was intensely strict, my dad's mum was, but that's Nigerian people's for you. Like, they don't play with anything. And she's like the matriarch of the family, so you couldn't, no. Even though my cousins will think that I had it easy because apparently I was like the favorite, but you weren't there when I was there. So whatever, innit? But when you go to the lands in which we come from, the experience is just so different.
Yeah.
And as an adult as well, you then look back to the last time that you was there as a teenager or as a young child, and you're like, wow, I really didn't fully appreciate what I was being given the opportunity to do when I came here. And I just think there's so much power in us actually going back to where we come from and experiencing it for ourselves and not allowing anybody to dictate.
Yeah.
Because the sad reality is, if you're not white or just from a white British background, you're going to have assumptions made of you. You're going to be stuck into like a label, a box with a label on it, stereotypes. People are going to tell you and make assumptions on your upbringing and what your values and your, what your makeup is. But no, that's on us. We decide what our identity is. We decide how connected we want to be and we are with our roots. And, our roots are rich. It's not just a little simple, you're from here in Jamaica, or you're from there. There's always a story behind where we're from. So I would love to hear that you book a flight for maybe not next year because COVID.
Yeah.
But you plan in like the next couple or few years to do a trip to Jamaica, India, and Kenya.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we need to do that.
And do something as a family now. Like, it's no longer just you having to go with your parents or a cousin or an aunt or an uncle. Like, you're doing this as a family now. So you get to take in Mark's culture from Jamaica with Leo and Mark. And then Mark gets to take in your culture with Leo, with you in India. And then all three of you get to explore Kenya together. Like, it's just, these are the things and the stories and the kind of, not even predictions, these are the plans that we have for our children, and they don't even know it. So he probably will go in his teens to maybe all three of the, not Jamaica. He will never go to Jamaica and not like it there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where you went, Mark, at the age of 15 and just
Where were you?
back in the UK.
Where
They
was
didn't even
what,
take
in
you to one
Jamaica?
party.
You know what? In Jamaica, the thing was, it was just me and my dad the whole time for 5 weeks.
Oh.
And but you know what? What I did love about it was that we went to every parish.
Ah,
We went
nice.
around the whole of it, and yeah, that's what I really loved. I saw the whole place, and it was mind blowing. Really, I had no idea that it was so mountainous and so lush. And all of that. I had no idea that that's what it was like. Yeah, so it was real eye opening, but at the same time, you know, I was 15. So yeah, I could only take in so much.
I definitely heard that because I
didn't go to any parties or anything like that. I didn't chill with I didn't really chill with anyone my age or anything. So yeah, yeah, it would have been different maybe.
Yeah, because if you'd have had they didn't even need to be the same age as you, maybe a few years older and maybe a couple younger, they would have taken you to a party or two. Believe me, even at the age of 15.
Yeah.
You would have definitely been to a street party, a little yard party.
See, that's what I make sure Liam does when he goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Give him
And
that
he will be like, yeah, I'm going to Jamaica with my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm coming. Nah, don't worry about it. We're going to do boring stuff in Jamaica. Okay, cool.
Do you know what though? I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm feeling more and more attached to my roots. And I don't know why, but it genuinely is. As I'm getting older, I just feel so even things like music, like Indian music, I feel so much more like I want to consume so much more of it now. Like it's I mean, I've always loved Indian music. It's incredible, but it really does something to me now in a different way than it did back in the day. It does something to me. I hear it and I feel it in my body. Like this is my music. I can't describe it. I don't. Yeah, it's kind of been a gradual thing, but I feel it differently to how I did when I was younger. It's weird.
I think a lot of people feel that as they get older, more of a wanting to connect because we're born, you know, we're born and raised here, so we, you know, limited opportunities to actually go and experience all of that. So once we have the, you know, the means to do that and the perspective of this life, I think that draws us to it. I think especially having children as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
There was nothing I can't describe. When I took Naeem to Jamaica when he was 3,
Wow.
and yeah, he loved it. From the moment we got there, his voice kind of went funny. I put it down to the plane ride. Yeah, he had like it was almost like he'd been screaming and
so a bit
had kind of lost his voice, but he hadn't screamed. I just put it down to we were on the plane and maybe the air up there done something to. I was watching back a video of us and he was talking and saying something and I was like, why does he sound like that? And then I remembered, yeah, his voice did kind of go funny, but it didn't stop his experience. And plus he got to meet his cousins who now live over here.
Oh, cool.
But taking them to Nigeria and them fully taking in the culture, I already knew Kayana was going to take to it like is it a fish to water?
Yeah. No, duck to water.
Duck to water?
Duck to water. Yeah. Is
Why
it?
do they say duck to water though? A fish takes the water much easier. We'll stick with the English saying like a duck to water.
Yeah. Wait.
Water off a duck's back.
That's the wrong thing. Yeah.
Like
it is
whatever.
No, you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
Just like a little village girl. Like she really wanted to be running around barefoot. She wanted the wrapper on her. She wanted to do this. She wanted to help with that. She wanted to be like, yeah, so you're going to kill the turkey today or the goat today? Like, what are we doing? Can I see? Mum, come and look. Can I use your phone to record? Like, she was just fully submerged in the whole culture. Like, we were in the village that we come from. So she got to see, like, where her great-grandparents are laid to rest and, you know, the house that they they work so hard to build and put together, and then the children put it together. But it's just seeing them in somewhere where I've been so many times, and I've seen it change, because the house didn't look like that 20 years ago when I was going, 20 plus years actually. But it's changed now, and it's more like, it's more cozy and it's more accommodating for more people. But just seeing them in the country and fully submerged and not taking, and like, oh my gosh, I wish that we had this here, I wish that we had that here. It was just, okay, so what are we doing today? Can I go and see auntie? Can I go over there? Can I go and see my cousin? Can I go and play here? It's like, we, you know, Naeem's a lot more. I wouldn't even call him an introvert. I'll call him socially, like, doesn't exist. He does not like to be around people. He likes to just be in his own company, but he still somewhat slowly took in some of the experiences.
Yeah.
It's just to see your children in the environment.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And just know, wow, this is your heritage. This is your culture.
Oh,
This
I
is
can't wait
where
for
you
that.
come from.
Yeah.
There's nothing sweeter than that feeling, and knowing that you brought them there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
And
nothing.
those are memories that they'll always carry with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
I really want to thank you both for coming on. Like, we could go on for another half hour, but you know.
Thank you.
Are there any kind of lasting words that you want to share with the viewers, with the listeners, about the journey of race and identity?
I mean, for me, I think I feel like I want to say something about being in a sort of a marriage that is a mixed marriage, and like how, you know, we haven't had it easy, but we haven't had it as bad as so many other couples would have it. And I suppose I just want to say that I'm so happy that, like, love is love, and we're together, and it's amazing and it is beautiful, and we've got an incredible mixed child. And my wish, I suppose, for the world is for us to not you know, to celebrate each other's differences, but also our commonalities, and just make sure we celebrate being with whoever we fall in love with. And I'm not articulating that well, but I just want to say that how much I love this man, as like why are you looking shocked?
I did not expect that to be coming out of your mouth.
Why are you looking shocked? I do, and like, you know, I'm really proud of you, and I'm proud that we have Leo together, and just I'm proud that you're mixed. I'm proud that he's mixed, and yeah, that's, I suppose, that's got nothing to do with what you asked me about identity. But I want to say, regardless,
It does. It
you
still
identify,
does.
love is love, and you know, it is a really beautiful thing to have all these different cultures together, and not let any hate get in between.
Yeah, you know, I definitely echo that. You know, for me, being with Indy, race never came into it. It was, you know, I love you. That's it. It's not. It's not a factor. And I guess I would say I would want. Well, what I want for Leo especially is, yeah, for him to just be confident within himself, to you know, and for anybody who has yeah, in a similar situation where they're in a mixed relationship, or has a mixed child, yeah, you know, just to try to instill that confidence and just that self-love, just be super proud of that mixture of it's not a weakness, it's not something that's makes anybody less than as a human. And as you were saying, to have people that will kind of fight back against any hatred, any you know, abuse is so important, and you know that I feel really lucky that I've got Indy, who is so, as you know, so vocal and will not take any shit. And I know that will be passed down to Leo. He's not going to take any shit.
Yes.
And just for him to know, like you know, fuck what people say. If anybody's got a problem with you for, you know, for not being black enough, not being Indian enough, you know, people probably won't care about, you know, whatever percentage white or whatever. They won't even look at that. You know, just don't even pay that any mind, you know, because at the end of the day, I think that just passing on whatever wisdom, whatever knowledge and experiences we can give him, you know, that will always trump ignorance.
100%.
Yeah, no pun intended on
Trump.
yeah.
Let's get started on that one.
Got political.
Yeah.
No, yeah, always overcome ignorance. So yeah, just be fearless. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
You know, be yourself.
I forgot to add that I was in a webinar today with the diversity practice, and it was all about race in the coaching space.
Oh, cool.
And what I took from that is, you know, call it out. Even and I mean, they were talking from a coaching approach and in that kind of setting. So if, as a black woman, what kind of coach would I choose? I'm gonna choose a black woman, quite frankly. And that's for reasons that, you know, for me, I feel that they look like me. They've probably experienced some of the same experiences that I've had. They can maybe understand a few of the things that I would share. They'd have more in common than me, or be able to understand a lot more that I would bring to a coaching session over, let's say, a white woman, a white man. Like, I would even potentially be hesitant to choose a black man. I would want to choose somebody that looks like me and then get to know them. But if we look at that if I didn't have the choice to choose a black woman, I would potentially go with a white woman or an Asian woman, because I want to work with women. I don't really know how a man could support me. Not saying that he couldn't, but then I started to look at that from a different perspective and be like, well, what if it's, like you say, in a relationship with somebody from a different background as me, building a friendship with somebody from a different background as me, in the workplace, you know? When we look at our clientele, it's predominantly black men in prison, but then when we look at the people who are delivering, they're predominantly white females or just predominantly white people. It's like, if we're so confident in that connection being a positive one and the impact coming out being of a positive nature, then don't be shy to call out or just highlight the fact that, yeah, there are some similarities between us, but then there also are some very clear differences between us. Let's talk about that. How can that help this connection or this relationship, whether it's a coaching relationship, a working relationship, a partnership relationship, a loving relationship? How can we use that difference between us to help this move forward? Like, how are we going to navigate that? And I looked at that not just from a coaching approach. I looked at that from every single approach. Just call it out, and not call it out in a negative and, you know, argumentative kind of way. Just say, you know, well, I'm noticing that. coachy approach. I'm hearing that and I'm noticing that. Just call it out and then work with it accordingly. Let's not be shying away from having such conversations, because it only further divides us. I don't want to be the person that just looks at a list of coaches and just be like, yeah, I'm going to choose a black woman. I should be open enough to choose somebody else as well. regardless of their race and regardless of, because of their race, I would want to choose somebody else. Because of their gender, I would want to choose somebody else. But, you know, I thought that it was an interesting thing, and something that really stuck with me was call it out.
Yeah.
Have the conversation about it. I just wanted to share that with you both. It kind of felt like a rant, but I just wanted to share that.
It really makes sense, but it's definitely kind of like what I'm kind of thinking about as well, in terms of like being in a mixed relationship. It is celebrating those differences as well. Do you know what I mean? It isn't just about, well, what do we have in common? It's not. It's how are we different, and how can we learn from that and grow from that together, really. Yeah, 100%.
Thank you so much for coming on to the episode.
Thank you. It's been great.
Oh, it was a lovely conversation.
Yeah.
It was a lovely conversation. Do you have any social handles that you guys can follow you on, the viewers and listeners?
Yeah, so I am on Twitter. I'm at Indy Cross. So that's INDYM Cross CROSS.
Guys, that will be down in the description box below, so you can follow Indy on her handle down below. Again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you guys for joining me. And guys, I look forward to continuing to learn and grow with you all. Bye.
Bye.
Hi guys, it's Keanu again. You're listening to the ReEducation podcast.